Hello, everyone, and welcome to RHAP. We are here tonight to talk through a very messy episode of Big Brother 26. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and make sure you're seated and
I
comfortable.
hope everybody is comfortably seated because it's about to get really uncomfortable in here for a lot of people.
And hopefully one of those people is not my first guest here, Matt. How you doing, Matt?
If Tucker tells me to get seated and comfortable, I promise you I'm going to listen. I'm very good, excited for another episode in the books of the Tucker Experience.
It's truly the Tucker Experience. Well, also with us to talk about the Tucker Experience is Mari. How you doing, Mari?
I'm good. I'm here. I'm seated. I am slightly uncomfortable, but I'm here to talk about it.
And talk about it we will.
Mm-hmm.
I thought a very fun episode. I thought this was a good time. I feel like they've hit this stride period of the season where in the first couple of weeks you're sometimes like struggling to keep up and it gets very messy and they end up not showing much at all. And then we've hit this point where it's like we're still getting content, but they're a lot more focused. And even the stuff that's not as relevant to the strategy still fits into the story and is very funny. We're dealing with charcuterie boards, so plenty to talk about here tonight for the veto episode of Big Brother 26. What'd you think, Mari? Good episode.
I love hide and go veto. Like, I would be so mad if I'm in the house, I'm not playing veto, and I have to sit there and watch hide and go veto because it's one of my favorite competitions. So to see it back, it's always good. Like, it's always good to see a classic comp back. So highlight of the episode for me.
I'm starting to wonder if they do this on purpose of holding. I mean, they didn't hold a pressure cooker away from us for years on purpose. That was just who knows why. But the fact that this was gone for so long and it's obviously such a fan favorite, it's a player favorite. I don't know if they just are tired of cleaning up milk off the floor, but this should be here every season. It is always fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe they're like Disney vaulting us, where it's like if they hold the competitions away, then we'll start wanting them more.
I guess.
The Disney Vault confused me as a kid. I thought those movies were coming out right then and there. I did not realize they're like 60 years old.
They also had the spelling comp return this season too, so they're kind of like hopping around to some things we haven't seen in a minute. So who knows?
I'm certainly not going to complain in terms of getting them because the spelling comp, the hide and go veto, it's all good stuff. I do feel like this hide and go veto was a little unfortunate in that I felt like a lot of the hiding spots were very samey. But we still got some fun moments. I thought it was very funny, the juxtaposition of Joseph trying to throw the competition and Brooklyn really trying to win the competition and both using the same hiding spot almost exactly. So plenty to get through there, but first we started the episode to beginning the Quinn saga here. We weren't sure if this was going to start pre-veto or during this episode, but Tucker lets Quinn know he's not really the target, and then Quinn is going to let Brooklyn know that he is a pawn. There's a clip from this episode that was actually I don't know how they did this, but they actually clipped a moment in the podcast and they put it in the episode. It was this.
Quinn, you're an idiot, dude. You're playing this game terribly.
I don't know how they pulled that from the podcast or how they like AI'd it into Tucker's voice, but like, hey, I'm not complaining.
Pretty good work there.
Right?
But look, if that's the thing, if Tucker can see this or say this type of thing, that the analysis is also saying the same thing, that's telling you something, given how Tucker's been going through this house.
Quinn, you have one job to do. One job. Don't spill the secret. Even my husband, who is a filthy casual, was like, man, he is not good at this game. I was like, oh, no, he's not. Quinn, come on now.
But it's so fun watching these. They're technically like with the narrative still including Quinn as a part of this group. I mean, sure, he is still the Pentagon, like he was all season, but it still feels like the remaining pieces of the Pentagon that are truly in harm's way as far as the rest of the house looking at them is Cam, Brooklyn, and Chelsea. So the fact that now we're like looking deeper into the dynamic between this group and all of them like somewhat turning on each other, not turning on each other, not knowing how comfortable they can still be sharing information with each other. We knew that this was a working alliance for so long, but the fact that again now it's imploding is creating more of a narrative throughout this season than we had earlier. So I'm good with it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it certainly works for us. As Quinn has pointed out now, might have been better for him if he had held on to that information a little bit longer, maybe waited to initiate the flip. But hey, we are where we are, and Quinn is where he is. Definitely didn't need to tell Brooklyn that he was a pawn, though. That just straight up didn't need to happen. Really, no reason for that to happen at all. And it really did get him in a lot of trouble. There was really like not a lot of reason for Tucker to use the veto on him in the first place. And so the fact that he just so quickly just like what did he think Brooklyn was gonna do there? Like obviously she's gonna tell people. He didn't even tell her like don't tell anyone. He was just like, yeah, he's telling me I'm a bonzo.
It almost felt like he was trying to make himself feel better by having her possibly confirm that was the case, like having her confirm, yeah, I think I'm the target, which makes sense because Quinn's out here saying that he thinks he's the pawn. So if he gets that reassurance from Brooklyn, it's going to make him feel better in the short term. But obviously in the longer term of the week, it puts him in hot water for no good reason.
Yeah, especially since like I thought that Tucker was testing him like, oh, I'm gonna tell him something and test. I didn't know Tucker was testing him like saying directly to his face, like, don't say anything or I'll know and I'll not take you off. Like he straight up told him that, like, and he still did it. Like it wasn't a hidden test, it was an out in the open test, and he failed. It was an open book and you failed.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, it is what it is. I do have a question though for you guys. What did Brooklyn say Little Miss Robin Hood?
Yes,
she did.
I was like Little Red Robin Hood. Oh okay.
Or, yeah, Little Red Robin Hood. Sorry.
Yes. If there was a headline, that would have been my headline.
There's some mixed fairy tales there.
I don't know what she's reading her kids to bed, but I might want to suggest Goodnight Moon.
Yeah, or Go Up to Sleep.
There's a lot of good options out there. It doesn't have to be the ones that she seems to have mixed up in her head.
I mean, I don't know. I assume Taylor Hall is a character in Little Red Robin Hood, where a girl in a red hood goes around stealing from the competition beasts and giving to the social players.
Yep.
Taylor Hall.
There it is. All right. Well, there's some more villainy that Brooklyn is up to here in this episode. And that this is actually, we've been talking all season. Like it's been a good season. Nobody's been getting into too much trouble. It's been pretty fun, but I will say I do think that Brooklyn like crossed a line here. I think that eating the charcuterie board was it just goes so far beyond the pale. I feel like we need to have a serious discussion about this.
I'm happy to. You joke. It sounds like a joke. I would be pissed too if someone was eating my HOH food in a week that I couldn't touch it. Like Angela, I mean, sure, we add in the extra dramatic effects of an Angela in the diary room, laying on the floor, give us all the good stuff. Love it. But she has a point.
Jesus!
She's making a valid point. That's her food.
They would have been good for weeks.
She didn't even ask.
They would not have been good for weeks.
I think she said 2 weeks to be fit. Well, maybe, I don't know. 1 week.
Pushing it.
Pushing
You're
it.
Pushing it. That listeria is coming for you.
Especially in that fridge.
I was watching the feeds when this happened. I just saw Angela on the floor in the living room. I was like, huh, what's going on? And it just like kept going. The fact that she was there because her charcuterie beets were being eaten was so funny. Like normally I'm like, oh, filler, okay, get to the good stuff. But this was so hilarious to me. I thought it was genius. And then also, why didn't you eat your meats and cheeses during your HOH week? I'm eating all of my stuff during that week. I don't care because you never know if you're going to be a have-not or not.
She did have a full week to go through this food, and I'm
Listen,
sure she was
sometimes you like to save your
sharing.
food.
No.
You're like, listen, I'm looking
Save the
forward to
chips.
it. I need it. Like I'm not going to be HOH anymore. I'm going to need a pick-me-up. I'll have a little charcuterie board. Save it for later. If I eat it all while I'm HOH, what happens if I land on the block next week and I'm hungry for charcuterie and I don't have it anymore because I ate it when the times were good? Now I need it when the times are bad.
Everybody's like, oh, the hard meats and cheeses, they last for a while. If they're unopened, they last for a while. If you open them, 7 days, y'all. 7 days. I'm just letting y'all know. That's from somebody who's studied microbiology. I'm just telling you. The child's like, it lasts forever.
What if you get one of those vacuum seal things, though?
Yeah, vacuum seal it. Great. But like kind of once you pop that thing open, please don't be eating your meats and cheeses. Well, some cheeses. They said they had brie there. So I think that's already kind of fermented. So that probably would have lasted a little bit. But still.
I just want to know how she ended up on the floor of the diary room.
They said they opened them. That was funny.
Josh Feinberg, hold my beer.
Truly, I mean, we've seen all different varieties of people laying, walking, standing, sleeping in the diary room, crying. But like the specific angle that Angela was at in the room, the amount of her that was on the screen compared to what the normal amount of space that a person takes up in a diary room screen was definitely a new spot, a new corner of the room that Angela's covering here. She's breaking new ground.
I'm just imagining her like falling to the floor and then they're like, can we hold on? Sorry, Angela, can you just stay there for a second? We gotta hold on, we gotta reposition. We gotta get an angle on this. Guys, quickly, please.
Because I'm pretty sure that
Angela, don't get up. No, please just stay there. We need to get an angle on this. Guys.
I think they always have to like bend down to go pick up their batteries or something like that when they change their mic. It'd be even funnier if she was just like down there changing her batteries and still just reminiscing on what happened and gets caught down there for a great shot. So if nothing else, we got a great screenshot out of it.
It was amazing.
Listen, I just want to have it on record. I am Team Angela. Don't eat my charcuterie board.
Yeah, no, I say all that to say, yeah, I hate the number one thing you guys talked about it this morning. It's waking me up from my sleep. And the second is eating my food. Like that. Those are the two quickest things that'll get me to pop off.
If somebody woke me up in the middle of the night and I went downstairs and I opened the fridge and I expected to find a charcuterie board there and it was gone, let me tell you, there'd be no house left. I'd burn it down.
Gotcha. And they really didn't even ask. That's the part. Unless they didn't, we didn't see it in the edit. I don't know if anybody, Taran, if you have any more insight from specifically what was going on that day. But from what we saw, nobody asked. And even when it was shown that she was upset about it, they were smiling through it, laughing it up, making some little, whatevers, and going about their day.
Just hearing them snacking and like, this is so good. That would have drove me crazy.
Like they're lucky that Tucker was enjoying it as well, because otherwise she would have really gone in. But her BB son was there partaking. So
listen,
Brooklyn in the diary room too.
I still have childhood trauma from food being stolen from me. There was a gummy worm I was saving.
Oh no!
It had the most amount of sour stuff on it, and I was waiting to eat it.
What's the most amount of sour stuff? What's the most?
It was just overloaded with sour gummy stuff.
Taran, did you after you were done with the sour candy, did you like pour the sour stuff into your mouth?
I don't even like candy. I didn't even like the worms. I just like the sour stuff.
The worms were the vehicle to the sour stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, so
I
we
used
have
to,
been traumatized by our siblings.
Oh,
I used
no.
to eat the sour stuff off of the worms and then throw them away.
Ew. We should all know less about each other.
Oh boy. I just slammed the desk and my monitor turned
You're
off,
frozen.
So I'm looking at a
Yes, you're
black screen
frozen.
right
Oh
now.
my god.
But
Yo,
you're very
screenshot
happily
this.
frozen.
Taran, this screenshot, it is gonna be all over Twitter in like
Can
2
you
seconds.
hear me right now?
Oh,
We
we
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
You're just
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
frozen
I
in
may
enjoy.
my computer may shut down at any moment.
Get the
Oh, God.
screenshot. Tweet it at me. Everybody tweet me the screenshot.
Oh
Oh my
right.
gosh.
Well, someone should probably take over from here because I don't know that I'm coming back
Oh, no.
yet.
Ooh, we
Someone
got
ate
the
Taran's
keys.
food and he shut things down. Mari, you're in charge. I can't Jacob Jones this.
What's your favorite cured meat, Matt?
When we're getting the charcuterie board out, I'm going for the cheeses. Much quicker
Oh,
than the meats.
Yeah, I'm the
Is that weird?
opposite. No, it's not weird. No, I'm just not a dairy person like that. So I would go for a nice salami, you know.
Okay.
Maybe like a pepperoni. Yeah, some
For
very basic,
for anyone
like
listening, Taran has left us. We are just
Welcome
left
to
here to talk about the
charcuterie
cheeses, the
hour.
meats, and the sour worms.
The sour stuff. Why didn't he just get like a sour punch then instead of a sour gummy worm? Like
I
who
guess.
goes
Well, but the
for a
sour punch will
gummy worm?
destroy your mouth
I
in a
love
way
sour
like
punch.
no
Oh my
other.
God. It's my favorite. That's my favorite candy. Like that is my absolute favorite candy. Strawberry sour punch. Other than that I think we should just keep talking about food until Taran
Have
comes
you
back.
ever done the exercise on your own of what you would want in your HOH basket?
Ooh, no. Okay, but let's do that. All right. So, in my HOH basket, like I said, I'd have to have sour punch. If I'm for my alcohol of choice, I would have to have like mini like Moscato bottles, like bottles of Moscato, like or maybe the sparkling can ones, like
Okay.
sparkling can Moscato. I don't want to share like 2 beers. I want wine. Wine and because I don't think they'll let you have, like, hard liquor, right? Like
No.
no.
We see
Yeah.
them get cans of beer.
Yeah. So, if it's wine, it has to be, like, a sparkling Moscato. What about you?
Well, I would be getting all of Taran's favorite candies, not his specifically, but it sounds like we have somewhat of a similar. Well, see, no,
Oh,
because
okay.
I'm not getting the sour stuff off the worm before I eat the worm. I'm just going to eat the
Okay.
worm. But I would be filling it up with the candies and the chocolates as much as possible, because otherwise, I don't think we're getting that. Do we want to go back to a little bit about Big Brother until we get Taran back?
Oh, I was having fun. Like the chat was loving our food talk. But yeah, let's talk about Big Brother. Where were we at?
I feel like we were the RHAP hand, invisible hand, is instructing us to maybe get into a little bit about
Oh,
the
sorry.
veto draw,
Okay.
and that's where we're going to see
Okay.
Joseph, who Joseph has gotten drawn now every week but one, and this week he doesn't even get drawn by his chip coming out. He gets drawn by Tucker pulling Tucker and getting to pull in Joseph. Is Taran back?
Yes, he's back. And
Oh.
but I think this was the second time like Tucker picked Joseph though,
Oh,
right?
is it?
I feel like he picked him last week too, but maybe I'm misremembering.
I mean,
Taran,
either way,
chat.
this man is playing in all the vetoes.
He's played in all of them, yeah.
Playing in them, throwing them. It's all over the place here with Joseph.
Yeah. And after the veto draw, but before the veto was when Brooklyn tells Tucker that Quinn told her he was the pawn, which again, Quinn, why did you set yourself up like that?
Who knows? Who knows? All right. So you're talking about the veto draw. Of course, that means that MJ and Joseph were going to join the nominees and Tucker to play hide and go veto. I mean, they get straight into it, right? Like, I mean, they start hiding things. Quinn, I felt like he had some ideas for like where to hide things.
Mhm.
All of them seem to fail. And interestingly, he goes into the drawer
Yep.
to hide in there, ends up not using it. It felt like he just didn't spend enough time actually trying to make it fit. Um,
Mhm.
and then ultimately that's where Tucker's able to win. I think ironically, because Quinn didn't think he could get it in there, he didn't think to look in the
Yeah,
drawers himself.
yeah.
I would have been so sick. If I was Quinn and Tucker is unveiling where he hid his veto, I would just keel over right then and there. I'd be so mad.
Yeah, he was just
To
snapping for him. He's like, "Oh, good job. You got it."
I would have been dying inside. Like, I tried that location, I didn't make it work, and of course, Mr. Wonderful, Captain America, the invincible one, managed to make it work, and not only make it work, but win the competition. I'd been sick to my stomach,
Yeah.
crying, throwing
So
up.
I wanted to bring up, like people that have been around watching RHAP for a while will know or remember that Taran has a secret hiding spot that he's just never shared with us.
Oh,
He has
yeah.
talked about this before that
I don't know what you're talking about.
he knows where he would hide it, but he's not ever
I
shared
wanna
it.
know
And
so badly.
I don't know. Well, if there's ever a day that Taran is, his last day of podcasting before he moves on to something else in life, maybe then he'll tell us. But I don't think that's going to happen. I
This
bring
was
that
made
up to
up to me.
say I bring this all up to say that I spent some time today really thinking through where I would hide it and watching them all struggle to find places to hide it. It's like we've seen these places before. We've seen in the pillows,
Mhm.
in the beds, in this and that, under this, and like especially when you consider the fact that they're obviously like not allowed to go upstairs. They can only stay on the main floor. They
Mhm.
are so limited in places. Like I saw some people praising Mackenzie's spot under the planter. I was like, yeah,
I did
I
too.
I agree with that being one of the better spots that was chosen, but still, it feels like there's got to be something else we can do. Can we like pull out the stove and throw it back there? So like, there's got to be something else, some other
I
place to go.
I always thought, didn't somebody put it, like, under the carpet in the living room once? Like, they lifted up the
Yeah,
corner of
I
the
think James
carpet,
Hooling did that.
and that's how he and I
I
think he
think.
won that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like, I always think of our good friend Peridium, his video, and we didn't even need to, like, think about it because they showed it here. Brett, the hack of in hide and go veto defense, like,
Hmm.
defend your veto, but now that it's shown and especially shown here now it's kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna go straight to the room where all the stuff is piled on because I'm gonna be looking there now because now I'm thinking you're trying to defend something. And then also Brooklyn putting her thing in Quinn's bag, knowing that Quinn's playing was just not
It was so
smart.
dumb. like,
Like,
like Brooklyn for sure the MVP of this segment for going all out, wreaking havoc amongst as much that she could get her hands on and riling Tucker up in the way that she did. Like anybody that's going to throw the most on the floor is going to be the MVP of this from a viewer's perspective. Like no way around
mhm,
that. But the LVP of finding a place to hide it, because like you said, Mari, like Quinn is playing here. He is going to look at his bag. You're looking at everything when you run back into the house looking for a hiding spot. And he's like, I usually just throw my clothes onto the bag, but everything is so nice and neatly organized, like it's trying to hide
mhm.
something. It's like, what? Why Quinn's bag? At least Joseph used Angela's bag, who wasn't playing.
Who wasn't playing, exactly.
Well, I thought this was very funny the way that they edited this because they smash cut Joseph going first and saying, "I want to throw this. I don't want to win. I don't want any power. That's stupid. I want to look weak. So I'm gonna put mine in somebody's bag and then just set the bag down somewhere. It's so obvious. I'll obviously get caught." Then Brooklyn comes in and she's like, "I really need to win this one, so I'm gonna put my card in somebody's bag and leave it somewhere and hope that nobody looks." Very funny juxtaposition. Um, then later in the round, you again see Joseph like dallying his way, like we're just wandering his way through the house. Like, I'm not gonna mess anything up. I'm not gonna get myself in trouble for no reason. Cut to Brooklyn. I'm messing stuff up.
Right.
I'm letting some steam out on this one. And that's obviously foreshadowing. And so that was funny. And then you also get what we were just talking about. Brooklyn goes for the Brett strategy. Defense wins championships. Everybody has wanted to see this attempted again because it won Brett the veto before. The problem is a bunch of people watched Brett do that, including Quinn, right? Like,
Yeah.
you have fans of the game, fans of the show who are there. And so the second Quinn sees, oh, there's some random mattresses thrown over this bag. Oh, it's my bag. Oh, it looks different. Like, instantly caught. Instantly.
But see, the way that Brett did it was the way that you need to do it to have the best chance, because Brett put 3 or 4 mattresses on. I watched it today. He put like 3 or 4 mattresses on top of whatever he was covering it, the pillow or something like that, and then continued to grab different pieces of foam and different pieces of anything that he could find to keep piling it on top, because you know that everybody only has 2.5 minutes when you go inside the house. You don't have the time to rip everything apart and to get under there. I mean, granted, you should know that you have to, because it is under all of that stuff that you're going to find a veto or one of the cards, whatever it is. But it still is a smarter strategy, because it causes so many people or it would take so much time away from people. And that's what you need to do at the end of the day with such weak hiding spots available.
And he piled on every time he went in there, correct?
Every time.
That was the problem, is that, like, you know, when he started, at least I haven't recently watched it, but when we saw the clip, like, he also only had like a couple of mattresses on to start. But then he didn't get instantly caught. And then over time, he was then able to really pile it on to the point where nobody was ever going to find it. Whereas Brooklyn only just got started and then just immediately got caught because it was so obvious where she was trying to hide. So yeah, I think that, like, if you're going to go for this strategy, you need to have like already started, like, you need to like have a really good start on like that whole situation.
She was also kind of incorporating a little bit of, I'm not actually remembering who exactly it was, but I also rewatched the BB8 one of this today, and somebody put their veto in Evil Dick's clothes, saying that nobody's going to want to go near his stuff because it's also whatever. So she kind of went with that strategy of being like, oh, Quinn's stuff is all smelly and whatever, so let's put it in a spot where no one's going to want to touch his stuff. Granted, this is hide and go veto, so people will rip anything apart. So at the end of the day, that doesn't really hold much water, but worth a shot.
Worth a shot. Cam ends up finding a couple of these cards, but his ends up getting found as well. Yeah, I mean, MJ, like, points for creativity, but instantly caught. I mean,
and poor Quinn, he was kind of like a victim of circumstance, because he put his in the garment bag, and because Brooklyn decided to throw all the clothes around the place, his garment bag ended up on the floor, and Cam basically tripped over Quinn's veto.
You got to anticipate the clothes are going to get thrown around, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Somebody put it in jeans before in like a previous year. That like, what are we doing? Like, that's the first place. That's the easiest thing to touch. Like, everyone's going to go squish the pillows, and everyone's going to go just like grab the clothes and see if there's anything anywhere in the clothes.
Yeah.
You're better off with a pillow stuck underneath your bed, and somebody's going to get it eventually. But
did somebody hide theirs in a cereal box once or something like that?
Yeah, there was no food related hiding this year.
Yeah, nobody went for like any good kitchen spots.
Yeah.
Under that bowl where Tucker thought somebody would put up, that looked pretty cool, but I don't know if they were too big for that.
Meanwhile, you have Brooklyn dumps out the garbage. Somebody always has to, and then Joseph puts it back. Joseph said, we're not cleaning all this up later. I'm going to start cleaning up now because I don't even care about winning this. And the garbage is spilled all over the kitchen, and we're going to have more ants. So
yeah, I was wondering if Joseph could have like just cleared a path straight to his bag if he was really trying to like throw.
It's like Rose
just grabs the bag and puts it right on top of somebody's bed that's flipped upside down.
Well, I don't think you can move it once it's there.
That's
so
what I was about to say. Okay,
but you could move the stuff that's in the way of it if you wanted to. I think
that's interesting. I haven't thought about that.
Defense.
That you could.
That was literally going to be my question, because I was like, the one thing I would do every time I would go in there, I would check to see where mine is, and see if I could try and defend it in some way. I don't think I would do the pile on thing, but I feel like there'd be a way to defend it like that. But it seems like you're not allowed to touch it once you place it.
At the end of the day, this was not anywhere near as messy as I would have liked it to be. We've seen some really messy in the past, and granted, we still got something out of this in the form of Tucker being pissed, and that giving us, at least 5 to 10 minutes worth of angry Tucker taking it out on the wrong person, which was funny. But milk on the floor, cereal everywhere, like that's the kind of thing that makes hide and go veto, and they did not have enough to clean up this time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Tucker instantly blaming Quinn and going off on him is hilarious, especially given the context that we know, which is that everyone instantly went up to Tucker and was like, Tucker, it's obviously Brooklyn that did that. Like, nobody thinks it's Quinn. And Tucker goes, oh, I knew that. I was just playing it up.
No, he called that man a dirty little rat within a couple of minutes of being so sure that it was Quinn. So I don't know if I buy that one, but everybody else saw it.
I felt bad for Quinn in that moment because it's like he said, he thought he was just playing at first, and then he's like, "Oh wait, like you're really mad." No, I didn't do it. Like, I really felt bad for him.
And one of the hardest things to do is convince somebody that you're telling the truth when you really are. A lot of the time. So like when he's sitting there having to defend himself, being like, no, it really wasn't me. But his telling the truth almost seems like really bad lying. Like it's bad.
It's tough when the person you're trying to convince is Tucker, I think.
That too.
Tucker's never going to believe you if he's already convinced himself. So that's a tough one. That's a challenging one. But I mean, the thing is about this that ultimately it kind of, and I think ends up helping Quinn, because there is this initial outburst and suspicion of Quinn, which Tucker then has to feel like, oh crap, I messed up. Like no, but I did that on purpose because it's all part of my plan that I'm now not actually mad at Quinn. So now in order to sell that, he has to not actually be mad at Quinn. And it has to all be a ploy. Which means he still has to be okay with the plan to use the veto on Quinn. But also, it sells this perception, which is reality, that Brooklyn and maybe by extension Chelsea and Cam are willing to sell Quinn out to save themselves. That he is at the bottom of their hierarchy priority list, and that he is the one they want to shove under the bus to stay alive. And if that's the case, then why would Tucker want to do what they want him to do? Why would he want to accept their shoving of Quinn under the bus? And why not instead go after the people that are doing the shoving? And so I think that this was not intentional by Quinn or by Brooklyn, but I do think this ends up helping Quinn in the long run.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think a lot of people like me probably felt bad for Quinn. Tucker, I'm pretty sure, like Tucker, it can be very jerky. Yeah, in a lot of different moments, in a lot of different ways. But I do think like finding out that it really wasn't Quinn, he probably did feel some type of way / bad about it. So yeah, I think this did help Quinn.
I just wish that we got even a little bit of like, I don't know if this was something he was thinking through at all or has been thinking through it all in the house, but like him in the diary room is just telling us, especially to cut ahead after the veto ends up getting used on him, that he's like, I'm still coming for Tucker no matter what. Like, It's like, well, have you thought like, I do think that him going after Tucker still makes plenty of sense, but I just want to like know, has he even thought about any other possibilities at this point where like Tucker obviously extended this branch to him in a way that, sure, it's not necessarily about saving Quinn. It's more about going after the more powerful people there. But like, is there anything that we can make happen here? Look at what Joseph is doing very successfully in weaponizing Tucker. Is there anything to consider there? Or is it just, we're going to be loud and yell in the diary room about it?
I mean, I think for Quinn, there's no path with Tucker. Like that bridge was burned in a way that it wasn't with Joseph, right? Like Joseph has been able to have a good relationship with Tucker all season. There's so much history between Quinn and Tucker. There's no way that like that like he can work Tucker in the same way. So I do think that, Quinn, along with most people in the game, should be targeting Tucker as soon as they can. So I do think that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, the yelling is
it getting worse? It's or is
I
it?
mean, you
Have I just not
you
been paying
tell
attention?
me. You tell me.
I don't want to.
Come on now.
I think he studied up on every loud diary room contestant from the past however long, and combined them all to create his new persona.
It's a lot. I mean, it's again, it's
too much.
like it's what I've talked about. Like, it's this sort of character that he does, which is not to say that it's not like an extension of who he is and how he like acts, but like, yeah, he just gets so overly animated in the DR, and I'm sure they're encouraging it because they love it. But yeah, when
Mhm.
it's and honestly, this I was actually fine with the watch. I thought
I'm looking at my. I'm like, why is Mario in the house? Why? Who let Luigi in? Like, what's going on?
Oh man.
But yeah, the in general though, it's you know, I think we can all agree that we prefer diary rooms where it feels like the person is just like actually having a conversation, as opposed to like, well, I mean, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go after Tucker when he gets when he's vulnerable. I'm gonna take my first shot at him. Let's go.
Oh my god, that was like spot on.
That wasn't bad.
That was so good. Yeah, I mean, even Angela's diary where she's like pouting about meats and cheeses was a little bit better to me. So, yeah. But there's always, there's always one person each season who's willing to do the dance and yell and get in production's good graces. So,
Does Quinn think, and I don't mean this in like a like, does he really think like, does he think that he might be in like contention for AFP at this point? Like, does he think that the character he's playing is like landing so well? Like, if there is DR encouragement for him to continue yelling in the way that he is, I feel like he might think that.
No, I don't think so.
No,
I don't think
not
so.
after getting voted for by America.
I forgot about
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think
know.
he very much like. I think he's even talked about it. Like, obviously, Tucker is like by far the favorite, and that means
Yeah.
that even if he was somebody that was that people might like, which he's not that archetype anyway. The fact that he's not with Tucker means that he's already going to be like way down on the list. So,
Okay, so he's just having fun. He's just screaming.
It's very like Sarah Beth. It's very like, I'm sorry, America, I'm getting rid of your fave, which is so fun. I love that moment. I love that moment mostly because she thought she was playing a game that was not even like wasn't even happening. The cookout were just anyways, but yeah, very that. I think Quinn knows that Tucker, if he is any type of super fan, he knows that Tucker is the hero of the story. Tucker is intentionally trying to make good TV, and he knows that if he's coming for him, then he's probably not well liked. And I think Taran may have hit it on the head a few weeks ago, but I think this character is like putting up a wall. It's if you put this character up, you can say, okay, America hates this character that I'm portraying in the game. They don't hate me. And I can definitely see that Quinn doing that, especially with him being in such a low position right now, really scrambling to see how he can maneuver the game. And I say all that to say I really want him to win HOH next week. Like,
he's one of the few people that would, I think, take the shot on Tucker.
Yeah,
and force him to play in that AI arena again, which would probably be pretty fun. But yes, well, he says in the diary room, and I have noticed this, and I think it has been effective, that he recognizes that he has completely failed with lies and deceit and manipulation, and so he's going to try radical honesty, and he's just going to admit everything. And I think that's a great instinct by Quinn. Quinn, who doesn't always have very good instincts, definitely the right instinct to just let it all out. You need a hard reset. If anything, him saying at the end of the episode, "Back to lies and deceit," I was like, maybe a little soon for that. But he has been doing much better in the house, socially, strategically, since he has been much more honest. Now, radical honesty comes with a little bit of de-radicalization, which is he's not going to be honest about whether or not he's going to target Tucker. And so in that way, going back to lies and deceit is correct. I think that he has successfully been very much like, oh, wow, Tucker, yes, which is what he kind of needs to do in this moment. But very clearly, this is what he should have been doing from the start with Tucker, just dumping it all, admitting that he screwed up with Brooklyn. In the episode, it happens pretty quickly, but in real time, it took a few days after he screwed up to Brooklyn for him to come clean like this. And he really should have done it earlier, but it still worked out. And ultimately, this is what you need. Like, sometimes you need to just admit that what you were trying is not going to work, and that you need to try something completely different. And that's exactly what happened here.
I just find it so interesting because this isn't the first time he's trying just honesty. He tried it with T-Core and Chemo, and look where that got him. So he's trying the same thing with somebody else, and he's getting different results, at least in that moment. But
different people respond in different ways. I think that what he should have learned is don't be honest with T-Core and Chemo. You should be lying to them. They will like your lies better than your truth. And when it comes to Tucker, especially when he already knows all of the truths, you just need to admit it. You just need to play dead, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also think like everybody is like, I don't understand why T-Core and Chemo don't trust Quinn. Oh my God, they should be trusting Quinn. Like, yes, they should trust Quinn. We know that Quinn counts them as his actual true alliance, but he has failed socially to convince them that they are his true alliance. I'm sorry, when you have somebody who, yes, he told you about all of his alliances and all his final twos, he still had all of those alliances and all those final twos, and we said it in those first early weeks. He had all those alliances, all those final twos, and he let them all kind of fall by the wayside. And honestly, to me, also with T-Core and Chemo, in a sense of the two of them clearly need constant reassurance, because look at them, they're glued at the hip with each other, and Quinn just was not doing enough. Now, I think he was trying. I'm not saying he wasn't, but you have to know your audience. And Timor.
Timor.
T-Core and Chemo,
It's hard.
like, just, they, their first instinct is to be suspicious. Like, how can you not be like, oh, okay, oh, you have this, oh, right, we're in this big alliance, oh wait, there's a smaller alliance, okay, oh, you have like 3 final twos, oh, okay, but we're the real ones, yes, okay. And then he spent his HOH. We talked about it. T-Core and Chemo did not make the effort to go up and talk to him, but where was his effort to talk to them? Like, I know he asked them for their opinions, but was he hanging out with them that week? Was he, was he making them feel comfortable as much as he could have?
That's the thing, is that like Quinn went into the game with this strategy of, I want to work with the more emotional players, is what he said. And so his first instinct was Angela. And we saw how that went, right? But like, it's been made pretty clear that like T-Core and Chemo, for him to have spent the amount of time that they required of him, he wouldn't have been able to maintain anything else. He would have needed to commit fully to them. And so they were not the right people to go to try to do what he was doing. Or at the very least, like, if you are going to try to use T-Core and Chemo as your weapon to overturn the power structure, you just need to do what every other player in this position has done before, which is keep them in the dark and save them for later. Like, that is just how you play that position. And instead, he really wanted to like be in deep with the people that he liked more. He liked T-Core and Chemo more. He liked hanging out with them more. And for that reason, he wanted to be on a team with them, but he was not playing in a style that was compatible with them whatsoever. And he didn't recognize that. And so, now he is where he is. And I think he now recognizes it. But it's a little late, unfortunately, for him. But yeah, oh, go ahead.
No, I agree with you. I just think he spilled too much.
Yeah.
He keeps spilling too much. You'd think he would have learned with Angela when he had chosen Angela and spilled his whole game to Angela, and then she goes Angela, and then he did the same thing with Leah. You know, when he tried to make his final two with Leah. Hey, Leah, this is my whole entire game. Oh wait, now you don't like me anymore. Hey, Chemo and T-Core, like, and that's another thing. They were technically like his third option ish. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's the first 2 weeks. You're still trying to figure out who you like, who you gel with, and stuff like that. So of course that's fine. But like he just didn't learn. Like I don't he did not necessarily need to tell them about the Pentagon, especially since he had worked them into the collective. Like I don't know. I just think between the three of them, they don't have compatible gameplay styles, but they all like each other. And I think that's what this whole house is about. Like, and I don't know if the audience is realizing is like, yes, Chemo and T-Core were in a position where they saw that they were at the bottom of a major alliance. And even though they liked the person that was on the block, they still made the move to get rid of Cedric. And no matter what, they made this big move, they upended everything, but there's still people you are going to be in that house and gel with. Like how you said about MJ gelling with the two people that she finds out were like kind of playing her. Like I hate when people think that like the only way to play this game is emotionless and like a game bot. Like only some people can do that. And yes, that gets praised a lot in this fandom, but not everybody's going to play like that. So that's why I just want to give Chemo and T-Core their flowers for pulling off a move that they saw was good for them strategically, but hurt them as people like socially, because they really did like Cedric, because that's a move that I don't think a lot of us could have made. And then on top of that, they made the move to also save Rubina, you know what I'm saying? Because that she was close to them socially as well. So it's like they had a tough road in either direction there. So I just think it's funny that they get crapped on for making the move. They get crapped on for not making the move. They get crapped on for making the move but not capitalizing on the move. It's just kind of funny to me. The perception of the flip.
Yeah, the group of that three with T-Core, Chemo, and Quinn, I feel like it's going to be hard for me to see them like fully coming back together. Just watching their interactions throughout the entire season, specifically the one moment where Quinn is like the most honest with the two of them that brought on this discussion. But like we see the two Chemo and T-Core interacting with Rubina, and those are natural, flowy conversations. They seem like a group of friends that walked in together and are just, you know, free-flowing strategy talks and just general vibes amongst each other. It's not the same vibe with Quinn. Like they have to like go to Quinn to talk game with him and vice versa. And it feels like, you know, they have to actively make a decision every time they have a conversation with him, what they are going to talk to him about, where it's so much easier with not just Rubina, like a handful of other people in the house to just talk to.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is Quinn just doesn't fit in with them as much as he would like to, as much as he would like to have fit in with them. Like he likes them the most in the house. They don't like him the most in the house. And that is the cold reality of that situation.
Yeah.
Weirdly though, T-Core and Chemo pretty absent in this episode, especially given how important they are to the week's plot line. As we do see that Tucker is going to use the veto. And that means that Chelsea, Cam, and Brooklyn are going to be on the block. He does so, of course, in dramatic fashion.
I hope everybody is comfortably seated because it's about to get really uncomfortable in here for a lot of people.
I said on stream while I was watching this is like when you're playing Blood on the Clock Tower and you just call out the entire demon team. He's just like, all right, so here's how it is. It's the collective. It's an 8-person alliance. These are the people in it. And then within the collective, there's another 5-person thing. And these are the people in that. And let me tell you, I'm pretty sure the demons are Brooklyn and Chelsea. Those are the ones we need to vote out to end the game.
And this is so funny because it's like, who is this new information for? Mackenzie and Leah?
MJ
that
and
it?
Leah.
That's it. So you do see a little bit of MJ's reactions of being like, wait, what? What's going on? But even still, like we see her on the feeds. She's just gonna bounce back to somebody else and replay all of that with incorrect reads on what happened and going forward, incorrect reads on how that's all gonna go down. But it is very funny to watch Tucker announce this like he is blowing up someone's game or something. Like it's two people that didn't know this information, and they're two of the people with the least amount of pull over anything in the house. They are two important votes, especially as the numbers go down. So, but what does that matter when it's just three people from the same alliance on the block this week? I don't know.
I mean, ultimately, it's the other people that didn't know about this, weirdly, are Chelsea, Brooklyn, and Cam themselves. They didn't know that their secrets had been exposed. And so, in that way, he's actually kind of doing them a favor. I mean, it's obviously putting them on the block, but by telling everyone, by exposing it all to the house that all already knew anyway, it's actually a much better position for them to be in because they can now admit to it. They haven't. But they can now admit, some of them have, Cam has, but they can now admit to it and kind of turn a new page. Whereas the best way to weaponize secrets that you know about somebody is to spread them secretly, and prevent them from even knowing that their secrets have been exposed. So they keep making fools of themselves, lying to everyone, not realizing that their position has been destroyed, and not being able to get on the same page as anybody else, and not understanding why. And it's because their secrets have been exposed. But by putting everything on the table, you allow them to have more of an option to reset. Case in point, Quinn, who has already done so, right? So, there's some interesting strategy there. But of course, Tucker, he wants to make a bang, and what a bang, right? Like, I appreciate that this was part of the veto meeting itself and not post veto meeting fallout, because I feel like it made for like a more exciting end of the episode.
Right. But honestly, I'm not. Is there more? Like, will there be more after the meeting?
Well, then there's the actual fallout from his speech, but we actually got to see the speech, which I thought was
so that was it from the speech, because the way that it was on the feed, like on the feeds, I thought it was like a rah rah speech. Like I thought it was gonna be like more. He was just like, yeah, like
right. That's it. Because he thought the alliance and exposing it was going to do so much more, but so many people already knew about it, so it didn't do much.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure there will be more.
Yeah. More speech. Okay. Like,
well, maybe not more speech, but more like
just fallout.
Yo, what's up with this? This is
yeah.
And honestly, it'll probably be Leah that's saying it. It's like,
yeah. Oh god.
It's just funny,
guys.
the way that
I just feel like it's important to tell the truth.
It's funny the way that he goes about planning these things, because obviously we saw it in the week that he leaves himself on the block. We see it this week that like I don't know if he's going to bed on like a Friday, Saturday night, probably Saturday night after the veto competition, just playing in his head how this is going to go. And no matter what happens over the course of the next day and a half until the veto meeting, he is going to stick to this script no matter what. And again, appreciate the fact that he has the show mapped out in his head and he's going to execute and make sure it's exciting television, whether he's going for the exciting television or just trying to make a genuine splash in the game. It's creating good TV, and we all know that.
Yeah, he said himself, he's already an icon in this game. So he's a legend of Big Brother. So
Mari, you kind of rolled your eyes when he said that. I think.
Everybody is comfortably seated because it's about to get really uncomfortable.
Have we checked on the poll today? The poll.
He made his mark. He did. He made his mark. Like that it's undeniable. Like depending on how far he goes, like this could be his season. Like depending, So
I did. This was from a few episodes ago, but they also had clipped another moment from. I don't remember when this was, Matt, but they somehow got a clip from you as well.
I want to know where Tucker is at all times. My eyes are on that kid.
Yep, deep fake me, real good there. You saw those red shorts.
Classic deep fake Angela saying things that other people are saying.
They were all dressed. The outfits were outfitting in the veto competition tonight. Brooklyn looked good. She looked like she was jumping in a pool. Tucker.
It is weird that they're in bathing suits for this competition.
Yeah.
Because it's like a pool party, but it's like, but we're going inside.
But
Like, I don't
also, it's like,
understand.
go find the memory card. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you're famously bringing the memory cards with you to the pool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That didn't make sense. Right.
Who
And the whole
knows?
thing is like you're hiding your search history. Like,
Hmm.
All right. Anything
Interesting.
else from the episode before we get into some spoilers?
No, it was fun. Always love hide and go
episode.
veto.
All right, then let's do it. Let's talk some spoilers.
The Office of Civil Defense has issued the following message. This is
A spoiler.
warning.
A spoiler.
Warning means that an actual
Spoiler.
against this country has been detected and that protective action should be taken.
All right. Of course, you all know that Chelsea is now on the block with Brooklyn and Cam. But the reason I mentioned that T-Core and Chemo not being really a part of this episode is pretty relevant because it feels like last week they had a lot of catching up to do on Thursday to really set the stage for a possible vote flip. And it feels as though we may be doing the same thing again here on Thursday's episode, on tomorrow night's episode, because there is a scenario, at least one, where T-Core and Chemo want to flip the vote. And that is that they never wanted Chelsea on the block in the first place. There's a whole side plot we did not explore in the episodes, which was that they were trying very hard to prevent Chelsea from going up on the block and instead get MJ on the block. They were very displeased with Chelsea going on the block in the first place, and they have been working to try to make sure that Chelsea will stay and not be evicted in the event that she stays on the block. Now, against Brooklyn, that's pretty easy. But Tucker is very dead set on one of Chelsea or Brooklyn leaving this week. And so if Brooklyn were to win the AI Arena competition, leaving Cam on the block against Chelsea, Tucker wants and expects Cam to stay and Chelsea to leave. But that is not what is set to happen at the moment. T-Core, Chemo, Rubina all agree that they want Chelsea to stay and Cam to go. And they theoretically have the numbers to make that happen if they want to, because they can get Quinn on board and they could theoretically get Brooklyn on board. If Brooklyn is off the block, Brooklyn would probably vote to keep Chelsea over Cam. And just like that, they have 5 votes. In addition to that, they could try to pull people like MJ, Leah, maybe even Joseph or Angela. Now, Joseph and Angela are very firmly Team Tucker. So if Tucker told them not to, they would probably be hesitant to. MJ and Leah have become much more Team Tucker. So they may also be in that sort of situation. And that could theoretically put Rubina in a bit of a swing vote position. But right now, as of right now, the votes are there to keep Chelsea. Tucker is not, as far as I know yet, because they're talking about it as we speak. They've been talking about it since like the episode started and since the podcast had started. They're still talking about this. And right now, it sounds like Angela and Joseph are like, listen, whatever you guys want. But this will get back to Tucker at some point, I assume. And how Tucker responds may decide what happens with this vote. So that is the current drama. What happens with Cam versus Chelsea? And then theoretically, it could have been interesting between Cam and Brooklyn as well, because they were thinking that they wanted to keep Brooklyn. That may be a bridge too far. They may not push that hard. But this is where we're at, Mari. And things could get interesting.
Taran, so where's the flip-o-meter at officially? Where are we at on the flip-o-meter?
I would say right now the vote is flipped. The vote right now, if they were to hold the vote right now, Chelsea stays over Cam. It's just a matter of, does Tucker find out? When he does, what does he do? Can he pull Joseph, Angela, and most importantly, Rubina back? And if he does, then it kills this flip, and then that might actually be more dramatic, because I think T-Core and Chemo will be pissed Although it may be more dramatic if Tucker is pissed. One of them might end up being pissed. One side may end up being pissed in this situation. And either way, I think we're in for some good drama potentially.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
The beauty
Cam
of what's
is-
been going on lately is
Mhm.
it is not House consensus votes at all throughout these past couple of weeks throughout the season. So if whatever happens, that again, we talked about maybe the AI arena is actually doing something here because there's so many different possibilities, so many different things that they have to think through each week. And based on a competition that happens at the last possible second before the vote, who knows what's going to happen. So if, we end up with chaos again, just no matter what happens with this vote, we're winning. And if Cam goes home, we're really winning. But
Cam is wonderful eye candy, but he gives me absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing in this game. So if he goes and we keep a Brooklyn and Chelsea, who are some of the only people who would really be gunning for Tucker, especially like openly gunning for him, I'm great, because I have no problem with Tucker. I think Tucker adds a lot of entertainment to the show, but I can't, like, I personally just can't sit here and watch one person win comp after comp after comp after comp like that. I just can't. And then with no opposition, because he's so charismatic. Like, he's a great person, most of the time, because he do be popping off.
yeah,
But
he
like,
has his moments.
yeah, he does. Like, I need opposition. Like, I need opposition. Like, this week with everybody falling all over themselves trying to be his number one, I can't. And I don't like that when it happens with anybody. So I want some people in here who's not afraid to take the shot. Even if they take the shot and miss, I want some shots being taken. I don't want everybody trying to take shots at his number one, number two, whatever. So yeah, Cam, so sorry, sir. Like, peace out if it has to happen. But like Taran said, it's just like last week. It's like a very specific outcome has to happen. Like, dominoes have to fall that, you would think are a slim chance of it happening. So we'll see. This AI arena, it's doing its big one. I'm not gonna lie, it is.
It's working.
But I also hate that we can't just backdoor somebody. Like, the AI arena is doing its big one when we have one of the biggest competitors, like, who can win everything in the house. I'm like, dang it! It's like a tit for tat. It's like we finally get a good twist, and you would think it would be an equalizer, but it's not. It's like, dang it.
I mean, I feel like it's exactly what we said at the start of the season, which this has a lot of potential, but it also has a lot of failure points. And the biggest failure point is if you make these competitions too winnable, then you make somebody invincible. And that's, I think right now we're lucky that person is Tucker. Because can you imagine the world where Tucker is not here and Cam is the one that's unbeatable in these competitions? I don't think we're happy about AI Arena anymore.
Especially like last year's Cam too. What if it was last
Yeah,
year?
they
right?
said Tucker said Cam as Cameron tonight, and woof, threw me off, triggering. Did not need to hear the name again. We're very lucky that this year's Cameron is going by Cam.
Yeah.
Scary stuff.
I think there's a very fine line here with the AI arena, and I think that we are currently on the right side of it. I think that it is really delivering. I think it has a lot of promise, but with it comes this increased responsibility to make the competitions even more like equitable, even more be even more careful with the competitions. And so that is what's happening there. But what we have here, and genuinely, I expect tonight, now that Joseph and Angela have been made aware of this plan to save Chelsea, honestly, it might be a race for the two of them to go back and rat this out to Tucker. In which case, how does Tucker respond? He has been talking about this trio of Rubina, Tikor, and Chemo, and he has been talking about making alliances outside of them. So he may, especially if this doesn't come from any of the three of them and instead comes from Angela or Joseph, I think that he could respond very poorly to this information. He may not like it at all and may really try to push back. That's where things get very interesting with this vote. And the joke of all of it is that it may not even matter. Cam might win that AI arena competition, and it never even mattered in the first place. But what it did is serve to potentially put a crack into the 6th Avenue. So we'll see. I think there's a lot of intrigue here, just tonight, and I will be back tomorrow morning to update you on all of it. It'll be exciting.
Yay.
Yeah, a lot of intrigue, and especially, whether Brooklyn, especially if Brooklyn stays, the dynamic involving her and then Quinn and going into Tucker, like you draw the lines all around the board to see where all that falls. If they are all in the house one more week, do Quinn and Brooklyn come back together? If Quinn comes into power, what does he do? Does he feel betrayed by Brooklyn? So I don't know, a lot of intrigue for next week based on one little comp tomorrow night.
Yeah. All right. Anything else that we want to touch on before we wrap up here?
Nope.
All right. Okay. Well, as I said, tomorrow morning could be an interesting update. The last update before the eviction tomorrow night. I'll let you know all of the possibilities that we might be in store for, because there might be a bunch. So stay tuned for that. I will be on Twitch, of course, if you want to hang out with me over on twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong, live streaming while watching the episodes. It's a good time to hang out and react, especially when we don't know what's going to happen. So come and hang out over there. And then afterward, we'll be back here on the podcast with a very special guest, a bit of a comp beast in his own right. Heisem will be joining us tomorrow night. So come and tune in for the Heisem Pod tomorrow. Yes, very fun stuff. You can also, of course, check out the Tastemakers over on the scripted television coverage we got going on, and all that good stuff. Find me on Twitter and those things. Matt, what do you got going on?
First of all, cannot wait to hear from Heisem. One of the best, one of the most fun pre-jury players in a long time. But I'm over on the Free Agents podcast talking about The Challenge season 40 episode aired tonight. I got to go watch it. And of course, over on the Diary Room podcast, where we are trying to narrow down through a randomized bracket to find the best Big Brother player of all time. We just had Michael Bruner on this past week as our guest, and Kevin Jacobs, as he announced yesterday, is next week. So a lot of fun over there. And I'm on Twitter at Matt Ligori to see anything else that I got going on.
All right, Mari.
Over on Crime Scene, me and Sarah Carradine had an amazing conversation and podcast with Chantel Francis, a frequent guest here for Big Brother, and Latanya Starks, where we talked about the Netflix documentary Daughters. It was such a really good, very emotional podcast. So I would definitely tell everybody to go watch the documentary Daughters, based off of it's an inmate program where fathers get to have a father-daughter dance with their daughters in prison. Incarcerated fathers get to see their daughters in prison, and it's a documentary that followed 4 little girls as they prepared for this father-daughter dance over an 8-year period. And it is a tearjerker, but it's really good. It's on Netflix. And then we had it was basically group therapy on a podcast. So go check that out by going to robhasawebsite.com/crime feed in order to listen to that podcast. And of course, over on the Recap Kickback, me, Chappelle, and Latanya also got together to talk about the docuseries, the MGM Plus docuseries, Hollywood Black, where it tells the history of cinema and Hollywood, and how it intertwines with Black culture and Black culture's influence on Hollywood and cinema throughout the years. It was such a fun podcast. So make sure you subscribe to the Recap Kickback by going to recapkickback.com or going to youtube.com/@recapkickback. We also were joined by Survivor 47's Asia. To talk about the Tyler Perry Divorced in Black movie. That was crazy. All of us had a lot of fun talking about it. So just go to Recap Kickback. We're having a lot of fun over there. Me and Chappelle and a whole bunch of other guests are just reviewing a whole bunch of stuff the only way we can. So go check that out. All right, that's it for me. Yeah.
Okay, well, that is what we have for all of you today then. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we will see all of you